Hey, this is Anna of Anna O Coaching. If you really want to level up in your life, you need to listen to It's Time to Shine Today with my good friend Scott Ferguson. Ready? Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson. We're at episode 334. We're going to stop worrying and start crushing our mental blocks and start leveling up with my really good friend from Anna O Coaching, Anna O'Connor. Anna is so empathetic. She's so passionate. She's vulnerable. She has all the sticking points of a fantastic coach. That's what made this interview so fun. She was so transparent and she just let it all out. And her story is just resonates so much with mine. It's like she's a sister from another mister, which I think I mentioned that in the podcast as well, or the interview. I just can't wait to bring this to you. Make sure you break out your digital notebooks or a pen and paper because she drops some serious knowledge nuggets that all of us can use to level up our lives. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Anna O'Connor from Anna O'Connor Coaching, Anna O Coaching. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I am so lucky and stoked that my good friend Anna O'Connor is here, and she actually is a pretty avid listener to our podcast. So I got to kind of trip her up a little bit and make sure her coaching's on point with some of the questions. No, I'm just totally kidding. I got again Anna. I call it Anna O Coaching here, but it's kind of a play on words that her daughter came up, and it's Anna O'Connor. And so for over 10 years, Anna has used her NeuroLeadership coaching process to show high-achieving professional athletes, professionals, and organizations how to use the power of the mind to upgrade the response to stress and master every area of their life. People relate to Anna due to her infectious energy and common sense approach. And I know that I've only kind of spoke to her here for about 5 or 6 minutes, but I am so in love with this lady. She's a rock star. She has that Southern charm, but she's going to help you really lock in to that neuro programming. And Anna, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, you know what's coming. What's your favorite color or why? And why?
I am prepared for this question. My favorite color is yellow and blue. I can't choose. I've always been one of these people that I go back and forth.
Love it. Why is that? What do you think the two are?
I love yellow, but I love blue. I love them both. I do. And my middle daughter is the same way.
Really?
She loves more than one color.
I love it. And they're both in your color wheel. So
yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So let's get a little bit that every coach, has a story and how they got kind of to the coaching and leveling up. And let's kind of get to the roots that kind of got you to the point of the rock star coach you are now.
I grew up in Virginia, and that's where the accent comes a little bit. And I'm the youngest of 6 kids. We are all still really close. And we had 2 parents that were good people, but were damaged. They'd had hard childhoods, and they did the very best they could. They were good people, and they provided well for us. However, my dad struggled with alcoholism and was abusive. And as the youngest of the 6, I was protected a lot by my older siblings. However, I saw a lot that I should have never seen, and there weren't a lot of coping skills taught. So all of us have struggled with dealing with relationships and overreacting. When you grow up in a place like that, you kind of have chronic anxiety. Really, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Wow.
So I wanted to not raise my kids that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. And so we've probably both heard that, a lot of people have a foot in the future, a foot in the past, and they piss all over the present.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And that's what a lot of that, what I feel, at least from my studies, a lot of that chronic anxiety comes from. Right. Is that they live, if we picture a car, we have a big, like a little rearview mirror, and a lot of people kind of live there. And there's this huge windshield, and the present is actually in your car and it drives someplace. Do you find a lot of the clients that you start working with to kind of pull them into your process that you have to kind of get through that little rearview window first?
Absolutely. You're completely correct. The one thing I would add is the problem is 80% of what we do is automatic. We don't even know we're doing it. It's habits. And so I call them thought habits, even emotional habits. And what happens is these habits, patterns, become part of our personality. And the problem is these patterns, or wires, as neuroscience calls them, are running people's lives without them knowing it, because the awareness is not there. For example, myself, growing up, we didn't have real happy holidays. It was always a big family fight. It was always awful. And so I had 3 great kids, a wonderful husband, and a lab that was wonderful. And I would find ways to stir up trouble and create drama and chaos. And thankfully, my husband one time looked at me and said, "Why do you do this?" I'm like, "Do what?" He's like, "Why do you create this craziness?" And that like clicked with me. And so then I was on a journey of, why do I do that? It's the same thing. Like if somebody got bit by a dog when they were 6.
Sure.
And you ask them when they're 60, "Do you like dogs?" They'll say no.
Right.
Unless they've done something to work through the fear of dogs. We label things as we go through life emotionally.
Love it. Were you told no a lot when you were a child?
I didn't even get to ask, I don't think.
Right. Okay. Very good.
I mean, it was pretty like, we're the parents and you do what we say.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the thing, especially from our generation.
Yes.
And even now a little bit is kids are told no on an average of 135,000 times by the time they're 13 years old.
Wow.
So we were born salesmen, right?
Oh
But
my
you were
gosh,
conditioned.
I mean,
You were conditioned by 8 older siblings, right? And be like, no, we don't even ask, right? So you were conditioned even younger.
Did and snuck.
Right. Yeah. You didn't just kind of did it. And that's, I think, a lot of, at least my clients, their kind of past comes from the negativity or the no, that then they pull that forward through that rearview mirror in the car into the present, and they're afraid to get after it. So what do you think then, Anna, makes a great coach? Not a good coach, but a great coach.
This probably isn't popular, but my style and what I believe in is connection.
Okay.
And everybody I coach with, I share about myself. I'm a complete open book. I feel like it makes them understand that they're not alone, that I've suffered too, that I've gone through a lot and I'm okay. So therefore you will be too. Wow. And I am very open about that. And I mean, honestly, I get connected to my clients. They become friends. And I mean, years after working with them, we still keep in touch. And awesome. To me, that's what I love, really.
Right. Right. And I love that it sounds to me then you have a lot of empathy, a lot of your own vulnerability, and you probably listen a lot more than you're doing the talk. I know that you share the story that you've been there and you've walked this path, but I think listening is a huge quality of yours.
Well, thank you. What I've been told is I'm very intuitive. I can feel what people are feeling.
Okay.
And when that really helps with, because I work with a lot of men, and a lot of men seem to not have the language to express what they're feeling.
Sure.
And so I can do that for them. I can try to pull some things out of them, and then I can say, "Is it this or that?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's it." So it's a lot of intuitively feeling and putting myself there.
Love that.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's just God.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's not anything I do. I don't take credit. And I just keep things simple. I keep it even though it's all based on brain science, I keep it simple enough for a 10-year-old.
I mentioned Neuro. Is that kind of the neuro-linguistic programming that you're working with?
No, I am trained in emotional brain training.
Okay.
Where what we now know with the new brain scans, the fMRI, that we can see, this is when we found out that the brain can change even when we're older. Sure. Even, we're not hardwired to react the way we react.
Sure.
And with that, we learned that we are provoked emotionally.
Gotcha.
And so what I do is I get to the emotional part of what created the mental block. Like you were saying, they were told no. Well, there's an emotional reason
Sure.
that, they felt like they weren't good enough. They felt like they didn't deserve, they're not worthy, or whatever it might be. That's an emotional belief that has been wired in, and it can be rewired.
I love it. I love it. And your maybe process that you're maybe using during the discovery period, what is some of your secret sauce that you might use to help them find that initial blind spot?
I have tools that I use. Typically, I say, so what's going on? Like you probably do. And then, it's always questions.
I love it.
The power of the question.
Yeah.
And I use the what question. I never use why. I always use what.
Yes.
And I'll say, so what made that, what made you think that? What made you feel that?
Sure.
And drilling. And then I when I kind of have the idea,
Right.
I say, okay, well, let's use a tool, because I can get to it typically in about 8 questions.
I love it. That's a sign of a great coach too, because again, a lot of people are coach-sultants, where I'm a coach. I'm here. There's people that I coach that play professional baseball, and they forgot more about baseball than I'll ever know. So
absolutely.
But that's the first barrier that I work with is like, you don't even do this in business, or you're not an actor, you've never been on the big screen and whatnot. And at first that was a hard objection for me to handle, but I just kind of say, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to get you to where you need to go through questions I'm going to ask, because 95% of my sessions anyways are probably a lot like yours, where it's questions, and they because the person has the problem inside them, but they also have the solution inside them. And a great coach like you gets that out.
Yes.
With fantastic questions. I love it. Yeah. So speaking of questions, if you're in that discovery period or whatnot, or even further down into a coaching relationship, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That my client would? Gosh, that's a good question. What do I wish they would ask me? I guess I wish they would ask me, what is it that you do? I think this is definitely, what is it that you do that makes it stick?
Ooh, that's strong.
Because if people would just do, they would do the things. It's a habit. It's a lifestyle. It is not, 60 days. That's BS.
Right.
That is BS. It's got to be every day, your whole life. And it's got to become, like while I'm sitting here with you, I'm using tools.
Right.
I keep checking in. I keep calming myself. I keep focused, you're constantly in it. And when you're not in it, your brain tells you, hey, get with it. Right.
And it's my dog, he comes to studio every time I do podcast interviews, and he's my biggest reminder of being present. Right. It's like,
and they get it.
Yeah, they get it. I mean, it's funny. There's this caption that I saw one time, or a meme, or whatever they call them now, where it's a man and a dog sitting on a park bench. And then there's these little like comic strip bubbles above the head, and above the man's head is like dollar signs and work and travel and wife. And above the dog's head is the exact same view that they're looking at. It's he's present.
Exactly.
And that's something that I teach a lot of my I coach a lot of my clients on, is that every moment there's a teachable moment, and there's something you can learn and take from that can become a habit, over time, that becomes a lifestyle, like you said. And I love it. So how long, and I have to ask you this because, you have your Habit Crush, and you have programs that are designed around making good habits a lifestyle. But how long does it generally take in your mind to make a habit a lifestyle? I understand there's commitments. If someone's fully committed, right, to your system, your kick-ass system and NO coaching, how long does it generally take them to get that habit to be the lifestyle?
It took me a long time to create it. the person who I created, like it all came together, it took him 6 months.
Okay.
Since then, the younger you are, the quicker it goes.
Yes. Old dog, new tricks, right?
Honey,
Kind of
those
thing.
wires aren't nearly as deep and
Yes.
long.
Yeah.
Go right over.
And it's funny you said that, Anna, because
Yeah.
it's not even psychological wires. They're actually physiological wires that are involved in this. I mean, a kid's brain is mush until they're 25. I mean, it's still growing, which you can get in there and help them level up during that time. But if you get a guy that's 35, 38, 40, or even 50 like me, the physiologically, when you start doing those habits, it physiologically affects you, like you get anxious, right?
Yes.
You
Well,
know?
and that brings up a few points.
Please. Yeah.
First, our brain's number one job is to keep us safe.
Yes.
So it's always scanning safe or unsafe, and it's leaning towards unsafe always.
Okay.
Wants to be sure. And then the second thing is your brain resists anything new. Because if it's new, it might be unsafe. It hasn't seen it through yet.
Right.
So it's going to, even if it's good for you and you want to do it, your brain's going to say, got a new job, so excited. Oh no, I can't do this. I'm so worried.
Right.
It can be the best things, going on vacation. Okay, where do we go? Where are we eating? I mean, it adds stress. Anytime you have more decisions, you have to focus more. Anything that takes you out of your structure.
Sure.
Look at COVID and what happened.
Right.
And what is still happening.
Right.
Because now everybody got used to being home and not seeing so many people. Now people are freaking out because they're uncomfortable seeing people and being in crowds.
Right.
The brain will adapt once it knows it's okay.
Ooh,
so you have to, it's amazing. Our brain is so adaptable. However, we'll do anything not to feel pain.
Yes.
I mean, people stay in horrible situations 30 years.
Right.
Now, because the initial pain of addressing something or taking action is just so scary.
It is.
The brain says, no, don't change. At least I know what I'm going to get.
Right.
And I've survived it. So it's okay.
Yeah, we've survived 100% of our worst days, right?
Yes.
And it's crazy.
I just read a statistic yesterday. This is Suicide Prevention Month, and I read a statistic. Well, not a statistic, but something that was reported that suicides are at the highest they've been since World War II.
Right.
Now, I'm obsessed with World War II. And the thought that a world war was the highest it had been at that point, and now today, that is scary.
It is.
That was shocking to me. I knew it was high. I just had no idea.
Right.
It was in comparison to World War II.
It's crazy. Yeah, I actually saw that same comparison. That's why I'm such a vendetta with them. My little brother killed himself, and I had 5 guys that I served with that have took their life. And there's a lot of psychological turmoil that people are going, where before it was psychological, but there was also the thought of, I'm going to get killed, in the World War II.
You can't imagine.
Right?
I mean, unless you've done it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been there. So I know that, you had to get up for certain situations, and luckily I grew up with a really hard father, that
you were conditioned.
Like you, he wasn't conditioned for like love and affection. He's conditioned like, dude, life's going to punch you in the mouth. Be ready for it. And I'm going to do everything in my power. I'm going to put you into every sport, and basically to get me out of his hair a lot. My dad's my best friend. So I talk shit about him all the time, but I love him.
He did a good job though. I mean, he must have shown
absolutely
you in other ways.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, and like a perfect example of that is you were already desensitized to physical and emotional discomfort.
Sure. Right.
And that's the key.
It is.
It is the key to desensitize, and what people won't do. Like, a very simple example is I had a player that was a freshman, and he was super homesick. I mean, like super homesick.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one of the first questions I always ask freshmen, and I'm doing a freshman program right now to help these kids, is who got you up for high school? Did you get yourself up, your parents, who got you up? And if they say their parent, one of their parents, that tells me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because it tells me their parent was more anxious about them getting to school than they were, and they didn't worry about it. And then I ask more
Right.
questions like, did you do your own laundry?
Sure.
How much did you take on?
Ooh, I like
And
it.
because if they didn't take on a whole lot, the transition is going to be even more stressful
Beautiful.
because
Yeah.
the simple things are overwhelming.
So true. So right.
But with
Exactly.
this kid, I asked questions about home, and he told me all these things, and then I said, "Okay, get ready." And I just made him think about them and played them up and
Mm,
described how awesome it was to go home and see his mom, and his mom made dinner and it was so good, and like laying in your bed, all this stuff.
mm,
And he would just be so at an 8. And then we would breathe,
mm-hmm.
get back down to like a 4.
Right.
And I'd say, let's go again.
Right. Yeah.
Desensitizing. That's all that was.
I love your approach to that. And it was all done through questions. And
Yeah.
people understand the
Yeah.
power of questions because so many people are so ready to tell you how to do something or give you from their experience or tell they're more interested in telling you their story than listening to yours, and that's
Right.
what makes you an
Right.
awesome coach. I really, really, really appreciate that. So, Anna, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go back to the double deuce. I don't know if it's O'Connor yet, but let's go back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on her? Not so much to change anything, because you have an awesome husband, awesome puppy, 3 awesome daughters. What kind of knowledge nuggets would you wait a minute? Do you have 3 daughters? Did we talk
Yes.
about okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I have 2 girls.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on her? Again, not to change so much, but to help her maybe shorten the learning curve, level up, or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker.
My mantra that I learned not
Sure.
until I was in my 40s, I would say that here's the secret. You have everything you need right inside of you.
Yes.
You have everything you need inside of you.
Would she have
And you're
listened?
gonna be okay.
Would she have listened?
That was pretty deep. I
Yeah.
would have probably not understood. Like my mom would always say, "Be still, be still."
Mhm.
And I hated when she would. I know that's how she would say. And I hated when she would say that. And that now I get it. I got older and I understand. And
Sure.
would I have gotten it? I would have appreciated that I had something in me. So I've always had a
Love it.
connection to God, and I believe that's where God lives.
Yeah,
And so if you can
absolutely.
go to that, go, and if you believe in something else, or if you just believe in nature or whatever, if you can go, because that carries inside of you.
Sure.
And it's proven we do have our own emotional healing inside of us. Now, if you have a chemistry thing, of course, that's what medication is for.
Sure.
And you need
Absolutely.
to take care of business, just like if you had diabetes.
Hmm.
But if it's something that you can work through with a coach, with a therapist, or whatever,
Sure.
then you do have it in you. You
Love it.
really can do it.
How important do you think then that love is in your life?
It's number one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do
Number
you define love?
Love is, I've heard that. I didn't, I'm sure you've heard it too. Love is like
Sure.
action. Love is actions
Hmm.
and time and attention.
I love it. What's awesome about how you answered that is you didn't answer it as an emotion. It's like you almost answered it like love is everything. And I love
Uh,
that you said that because a lot of
yeah.
people are like, oh, it's how you feel. Or no, dude, it's everything. You just said, it's actions, it's everywhere. And I appreciate it because I want to ask you that as a coach. I ask all my
Mhm.
coaches that about
Mhm.
love because I come from a place of love with absolutely no wanting of reciprocity. I'm open to it, but I
Mhm.
and don't. And I appreciate you answering like that. So how do you want your dash remember that little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date? Hopefully it's a long ways down the road. Your
Yeah.
life date and death date. How do you want your dash remember?
I would say I want to be remembered as somebody that was loving
Mm.
and laughing
I
and
love it.
having, connection with people and caring. And, honestly, I feel like with all the young athletes I work with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a mom, and
Oh.
part of my story, and they actually say that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my story is I had a lot of trouble having children, and I absolutely love children. I was a teacher, and I just love children. And I lost twins and
I'm so
went
sorry.
through such heartache. And it's so funny, God now has given me, more than I ever dreamed of with my three daughters. And then I
Mm.
have all these young people that I'm like this mom, as they say, that you can tell everything to.
Yeah,
And
that's
so I
beautiful.
think as a loving, laughing mom
That's
would be
beautiful.
great. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So let's go another way. Like, what do you think that people misunderstand the most about you, Anna?
Wow. I don't know. I think sometimes I think what I've learned as you get older, I think I'm very optimistic.
Hmm.
And what I've learned lately, I would say, is that there's givers and takers, and I know that.
Hmm.
And I think people take me being, I'm a giver. I'm just very giving.
Hmm.
I was taught that. And I will give to a point.
Sure.
And I think people don't realize I have probably a tougher side than they realize.
Ooh, I like it. I
I
like
have
it.
I have some fire in me.
I was just gonna say it's
I
like
do.
that's why I thought just from what I've looked at and researched about you that your favorite color would have been purple. Because I think that you're
Really?
just a perfect mesh between red and blue, where you're pretty chill, but there's that
Great.
red
I love
side
you said that. I love
that came out.
that.
I was, me and Donnie always kind of have a bet. I'm like, I bet her favorite color is purple. But when you said blue and yellow, I love it because they both fit
Uh-huh.
you. But it's just the same color of like the University of Michigan. I'm a Michigan State fan. I'm just kidding. No, I love it. I love it. So, what is Anna's definition of a life well lived?
Well, I would think, freedom to be who you are and freedom to love your life and people to share it with.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm taking notes and
Please
share. I
do.
love it.
I
Love it.
appreciate that.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
I have to
And
tell you something.
sure.
I have in my program, I do 3 mindsets. I keep it super simple.
Hmm.
Blue is like you're calm, focused, you're all, in a great place. Yellow,
Hmm.
you're, working, you're a little anxious, trying to figure things out. And red, you're checked out, you're, freaking out. That's your
Sure.
survival one. And so when you said blue and red, I was like, oh my God, that's so
It's
funny. On the
it's the sandwich
two extremes.
with the yellow in there. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So that's beautiful. And time to shine today podcast varsity squad. We are back, and Anna, you and I will meet up one time. We're gonna rock some stages, and
That would be awesome.
you and I will probably sit and talk about each one of these. There's a few of these questions, 15, 20 minutes in each one of them. But within our lightning round, you have 5 seconds with no explanations. I mean, none. I'll just
All
ask the
right.
next question. You ready to rock?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Let's level up. Anna, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Be yourself.
Yes. Sure. One of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Self-regulating.
Beautiful. So you see me walking down the street, you're like, yeah, Fergie looks like he looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. What book might you hand me to level me up?
I would probably Untethered Soul by Michael Singer.
Great, great freaking book. Thank you for saying that. What is your most commonly used emoji?
The wink with the tongue hanging out laughing.
Love it, love it,
A whole bunch of things going
love
on.
it. Nicknames growing up?
Little Richie and Anna Banana.
I love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Checkers. I'd
Okay,
like to
me
play
too. It's
chess.
simpler. I love it.
Yeah.
Go-to ice cream flavor.
Mint chocolate chip.
You and I are like, you're my sister from a different mister. I'm telling you right now, man. I
Good
love it.
taste.
Love it. So there's a sandwich called the Anna Banana O'Connor. Build that sandwich for me.
It would be basically like a very simple BLT, um, melted to make it warm with avocado.
Love it. I'm glad you had a little man candy on there, that bacon. That's beautiful. So you can take a time machine, can't change a thing, but you can just observe for one day and come back to the present. Would you go 20 years in the future or any time in your past just to observe?
I love Winston Churchill.
I love it. You and I
I
are
love
good
him.
friends. Love it.
And I love like the whole, the darkest hour and
Mm,
just how he was so tenacious and creative.
yeah.
And and it was their finest hour. I mean,
Yes.
that is just everything.
Yeah. And I
That was
loved him.
I
I loved
loved it.
the portrayal of him in The Crown. There's a really
Yes,
good portrayal in
they
Netflix, The
did.
Crown, with Queen
Mhm.
Elizabeth's story.
I watched the
Uh,
whole thing.
it
Yes.
was it's great, and it's great. Can't wait for the next season to come out. It's one I'm a period piece. I'm breaking my own rules here, but I'm a period piece person like you. My favorite time is the Civil War into the Gilded Age, right?
Okay.
But I do love the Revolutionary War. I'm like that weirdo when I go speak. Like I'm going to Boston, and I blocked off a whole time tomorrow just to walk the yellow stripe that Paul
Love it.
Revere rode, right? So
Yes.
that's me. I'm that loser that just goes off by himself. It just
I
does
mean,
that stuff.
I'll go to any kind
There
of
you
war.
go. When you come,
I
you know what's
love
funny
war.
is,
It's
what's
so
funny is
sad.
down here in Florida, there's so much history that
Uh-huh.
shaped us that that you don't know about when you
Right.
start digging into it. It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's keep the thing going here. But favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
I have a lot. I always go to St. Jude's. I
Thank you.
used to be a part of a backpack buddy program, but it
Mm,
ended. And anything with kids. I'm also passionate about suicide prevention.
thank you.
I have been doing a lot, especially right now on my platform, and trying to draw attention to athletes. I'm focusing
Yeah,
on college student athletes
thank
because
you. Yeah,
uh, 33% of athletes say that they are depressed, anxious,
yeah,
and the sad thing is only 10% even seek. Not that they actually do it and go
sure.
through. And because there's not time, because of the stigma, because it's just not convenient.
Yeah,
They don't want it to hurt their playing time. And thankfully, with University of Maryland, I was able to go down there and immerse into the men's lacrosse team, and it was amazing.
go
I
Terps.
would
Love it.
sit in the bleachers, and guys would come up and talk.
Yeah,
There was no stigma,
I
and it
love
was
that.
that's my passion. I want to see a mental health trainer on every campus, just
Sure,
like there's athletic trainers for the body and the pains and the strains.
sure,
I want
absolutely.
mental health trainers for the mental and emotional
No,
pains and
and I love that, and it's just crazy because it, well, I told you off camera about the suicide vendetta that I have, and a lot of these kids that I found that I've coached, high level college athletes, Division I as well, and they're the best in their hometown, right? I mean,
oh
they
yeah,
are the highly recruited. Then they
oh yeah.
go
Hmm.
to Maryland or Florida State or wherever, and they're just one of the guys, and that can play a ton
Hmm.
on that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But we got to keep it moving a little bit. But okay, last question. What is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Well, I like country.
Okay, beautiful. Which era of country? I mean, I'm really interested in this because I'm a country boy.
I
So go ahead.
well, I'm from Stanton, Virginia, and that's where the Statler brothers are from. And my best
Okay,
friend's dad is Phil.
sure.
I know. So the 70s, 80s,
Yeah, that's some
late
good country,
70s,
man.
80s. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
I
My
love
dad
it.
actually picked cotton with the lead singer of Alabama,
Oh,
Randy Owen. Yeah.
that's
So,
cool.
yeah, it's a pretty cool story. You get to see him and stuff. My dad he worked in the industrial north up in Detroit. But he got there when he was a kid. He worked from 1966 to 1996. He literally packed up and moved back down to the side of Lookout Mountain in Alabama. So it's pretty cool. So I get to go
That is.
visit him there. It's my little time to turn off because my phone don't work.
It's
But,
awesome.
it's just
It
me and my dad.
is.
We go casting and blasting. We get in a boat and take a shotgun and some fishing reels and go catch some fish and shoot a couple
You are my kind of person.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not that kind of guy, but it's a bonding between my old man and me.
Yeah,
Again, me and my dad.
I mean, my family, they're just in Virginia, but they act like I'm, up in Maine or something.
Right.
But I can't believe I'm this far north.
Really? I can't believe it either with
love-
that accent.
Yeah, I went to NC State and UNC, and I thought I would end up down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
All
All
but
right.
I love here, but I will have something down south one day. My daughter's in 12.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So how can we find you, Anna?
You can find me, the easiest way if you want to DM me or message me is to go on Instagram at Anna O Coaching. That's the
Beautiful.
easiest way to connect with me. Of course, you can go on my website, and I believe that links in show notes. And
it'll be in the show notes. Yep.
And contact, you can contact me that way.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And you have to accept our request on LinkedIn soon. Okay.
I will.
We're going to need that. We need
See,
that.
that's why I say Instagram, because that's the only one I really
No, that's fine. That's fine. We just want to make sure this gets out, because I know a lot of my peeps out there on LinkedIn are listening right now, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, Anna, do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Have compassion for yourself. Try to look down from above and see yourself from above, and just see yourself, for all the good and all the not so good. We're all human, and just have compassion for yourself.
Love it. And squad, we just had a super, super fun conversation. And basically also a kind of a free masterclass that, my good friend Anna, she's the youngest of 6, still close with her siblings because their siblings kind of raised her. She had parents that, she said were kind of damaged, but it's a lot of kids, and especially in that day and age, there's a lot of, mouths to feed and whatnot. And Anna luckily had the siblings to pull her through, and she actually pulled herself through as well. And, with chronic anxiety, that it's something that can lead to a bad thing like suicide, that my good friend Anna and I are very passionate about fighting. That she wants us to understand that 80% of what we do is automatic. We need the habits to become our life, not just to change for a few days, but to actually become who you are. A great coach, she says, it has great connection. A great listener listens with their neck, is really leaning in to what you're saying. And they will make sure the client knows that they are not alone. And she's even vulnerable with her own story, so she can make that connection to really build a relationship as well as a coaching client professional relationship. Ask your coach, if you're not working with Anna, ask them what they're going to do within their process to make sure that it sticks. What's going to change that brain chemistry, both physiological and psychological, to know that it's going to adapt to make things that's okay. Anna just dropped so many knowledge because I have pages and pages of notes that I'm just pulling from. And she wants you to remember also that you have everything you need right now. Everything is inside of you. It's going to be okay. And if you don't feel it's going to be okay, please reach out to Anna or reach out to us, and we'll make a warm introduction to Anna. She's going to be remembered as someone that was loving, laughing, full of connection, full of caring. So basically, Anna's planting trees she's probably never going to sit in the shade of. And those are the people that I love to surround myself with. A life well lived to Anna is freedom to live, love, and most importantly, share. Share what you have, to have also compassion for yourself. See yourself from above. All the good, all the bad, you get them both, and then you have the facts of life. That's the song that I love that just comes out. And that's what my really good friend Anna does. She levels up her health. She level up her wealth. She's earned a varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. I absolutely love your guts, and I cannot wait to collaborate with you in the future.
Me too. You're wonderful. I so love your show. It's great. So much good stuff.
Thanks, Anna. We'll chat soon, love.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.